Welcome to Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the big stories in CSGO, quicker than Jason Lake gives up on the Juggernaut. A quick reminder to rate and reviews at the end of the episode, it really helps us. I'm Logan, this is Napz. On today's episode, we talk about the PGL Major, we talk about complexities, rebuilding phase, and Valve's vendetta against coaches. Roll the intro. Welcome, Napz, to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Who are you?
Who am I? I am a delusional Mouseports fan that usually writes the stories that AZS doesn't want to write and everything else. So that's who I am.
When he says everything else, in this case, he means the section called everything else,
Yeah.
not just everything else.
Yeah.
Trust me, being in the TLDR Discord, very confusing the first 3 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, it was for me. Yeah.
All right, so Major, Legend Stage, done. We're about to get into playoffs starting tomorrow. So when the podcast comes out, playoffs will have just started, I believe. So we're going to talk about the teams through the Legend Stage, same way we did last week. So we're going to start with the 3-0 teams. G2.
I was actually surprised by G2.
So was I. So I think we said last week that G2 were either going to go 0-3 or 3-0, and I was really, really leaning on that 0-3.
Yeah, I was at first when I made my pick'em, I didn't put in G2 at all.
I didn't to end my pick'ems.
No, and then at the last minute, like at like 1 a.m., I put them in because someone else said, yeah, they have land buff, they're gonna do well, and I really believe in the land buff now. So
I guess so.
They were really convincing in their games as well. I don't know if everyone just shows up on a team like they did in the Legend stage, I can see them going far in the Champion stage.
All I can say is everything in my head is still pointing me to 3 weeks ago when we went to the RMR and they didn't show up at all.
True.
And the I believe the event before that was Blast that they were at, and they also didn't show up at. And it's just like the last 2 months has just been like they just haven't existed. And sure, congratulations, you went 3-0 in the Legend stage, but I'm not convinced yet. So for reference, they beat Copenhagen Flames, they beat Faze, and then they beat Entropia in a best of 3.
Yeah, it's not the best opposition. But that's the thing, right? With like international lineups, it's hard to judge how consistent they'll be. So Faze and Mouse, for example, they're also international lineups. They looked like up and down across the tournament. And G2, I think, just had like 3 games in a row, or like 2 best of 1s in a row and the best of 3 after that, where they looked really good and where they played like well against opposition where they were expected to do well against.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think it's a pretty big, like they went over Copenhagen Flames, was their most difficult opponent. They only played 16-11 against them in the best of 1, and they rolled over Faze, and I don't remember the Entropia result actually, but
it was 2-0.
Yeah, so pretty that's pretty convincing.
Yeah. Do you think that G2 is going to go far in the next stage? They made it through, obviously. They're one of our 8 teams that'll be in the next in playoffs.
So their opening game is against...
Their opening game is NIP.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because NIP had more time in the Legend stage. You know, they had more games.
Mm-hmm.
But they also looked on and off at times. They were really getting carried by Device at some points. Like, it's insane what that guy can do for a team. Basically carried them from pretty much like hanging around between top 20, top 10 to best team or second best team in the world. If G2 can do well against NIP in their opening game, I think they'll go to the final.
Okay.
Because the opposition after that is pretty easy. Like, they have a good side of the bracket, to be honest.
All right. Na'Vi. Let's talk about Na'Vi. Na'Vi also went 3-0, wins over Heroic, Virtus Pro, and NIP. I think this was the most convincing thing we have seen, and that includes EG going 0-3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this was a smashing against Heroic 16-11, 16-4 against Virtus Pro, and
And
then
then
they
2-0.
2-0 Nip,
Yeah.
which we've already said is a good team.
I mean, I really think Navi will win this major. There has to be like a miracle for them not to win this major. Everything's
I
set.
mean, to be fair, the miracle has appeared in the quarterfinals.
True.
Um, I just the Navi team looks unstoppable right now. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's they 2-0 to everyone that was in their way, and by everyone I just mean Nip. But Nip is still a good team, taking 2 maps. I mean, Copenhagen Flames went very far against Nip. Um, like Gambit 2-0 Nip as well. Like it's Nip is not an easy pushover.
No.
Um, by any means necessary. I mean, to be even if no one else is existing on that team, Device is still there,
Yeah.
and 2-0ing Nip is
It's
that's a
it's
good start.
it's pretty telling for what we can expect from them in the next stage, I think.
All right, 3-1 teams. Let's talk about the most surprising team in this stage. Furia somehow made it through. They are the last, and I put this in air quotes, North American hope.
That's really stretching it, to
Yeah,
be
I oh
honest.
yeah. How the hell did Furia make it here?
That's a very good question.
I mean,
I
I'm going to
think,
be honest. It's luck of the draw because
yeah,
Fury got here by losing to Astralis, beating Mouse, beating Liquid, beating Entropic. I
and
think that's just about the easiest way they could have pulled
yeah,
this.
because losing to Astralis, like people tend to forget that the Astralis at this major is in no way comparable to Astralis like
Yeah, this is
at the
not a
previous
good
major. No,
Astralis.
this Astralis sucked.
This
Like,
was the only Astralis win. We'll get more to Astralis in a little
yeah,
bit, but all three of the teams that they won against, actually, two of the three of the teams that they won against, all went out 1-3.
yeah, and the only one that went 2-3 was Entropic, and well, Entropic had the Vega Squadron bug or buff.
Buff, yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's actually the Wendigo buff, but or
It's basically
QDF
just a
buff.
CIS
It's
team
it's
buff.
the CIS team that goes far. There's one
Yeah.
every major. It gets renamed every major. It's just just
Yeah.
there.
I mean, it's you have to fill the quarterfinals with like some teams, and Furia just gets a lucky draw in the legend stage. They might still progress to who did they face actually in the
They
quarterfinals? I
played
forgot.
Gambit.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I was gonna say something, but never mind.
You know, they might have gotten the worst pull of any team here. But
Yeah.
to be fair, I'm not convinced they should actually be in playoffs.
No.
So realistically, natural selection should do its thing and just
It's just helping everyone's pickums, to be honest.
yeah. I mean,
I think.
everyone will know that Gambit wins that game.
Yeah.
Um, Though we do get art stickers, which art signatures previously have been very nice.
And you know those stickers will give you a buff if you like run
If you
straight over your
just
opponent. You
hold
just hold
W,
W.
yeah. Um, Gambit. Gambit looked unconvincing to me,
I don't
and
know.
my problem is that so Gambit won against Ence, lost against Entropic, won against VP in a really close match,
Yeah.
and then 2-0 Nip.
Yeah.
That sounds like good because they won 3 matches and they only lost one. But I don't like the fact that they were so close against VP. I don't like the fact that they lost to Entropic, right? It feels inconsistent and it feels like this team is still figuring out how to play on land.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? This is a type of team that is very comparable to Navi, I think, in that they can be really convincing. I mean, we were talking like a second ago about how it's impressive that Navi rolled over NIP 2-0. Gambit did the same thing. And it's best of ones in like a
Yeah.
legend stage. So it's hard to judge from them. But I think the most unfortunate thing about Gambit going through is that they aren't on the other side of the bracket compared to Navi. Because I was completely prepared to have a Navi Gambit final.
Yeah.
but they'll face off in the semifinals. So it's unfortunate for them how they drew, but I think they're still a really solid team, and they can probably make it far, but they won't make it past Navi.
Yeah. I think Gambit is in I think all in the end, right? With the way that G2 played right now, not saying how they played 2 weeks ago, but how they played right now, I think Gambit is in the right place. I don't think Gambit realistically should have gone 3-0
Yeah,
in the way that they have played so far. I think the seeding has been roughly correct, other than Furia, which is something else on its own.
yeah, they did about as well as everyone expected them to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I think everyone expected the 3-1 or the 3-0, and that's where they ended up. I don't think there was a single person who said Gambit wasn't going through on their pickums in
Yeah,
some way, shape, or form. And I think that it was a relatively safe bet, and that Gambit stocks are still decently high, though I am personally slightly disappointed.
yeah.
um,
Well, yeah. I mean, it's still like a loss to Entropic. You would have expected them to win, especially because they come from the same region, so they have played each other
well, the
before
hope is
often
that you
enough.
have the anti CIS buff.
Yeah,
When you have the random CIS team, and I know Entropic's not a random CIS team, but when you have the Wendigo and the or the QBF or the Vega Squadron buff, whatever we want to call it today, when you have that buff, that should be countered by the actual CIS team that knows how to do things.
yeah, and
That's
that
the
has the
hope.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
but what we're also forgetting about Gambit is that last time we had a PGL major,
Gambit didn't win.
Gambit won, so you might
So
get
you
some
say
PGL magic again.
I was gonna say Gambit gets the PGL buff. Is that what we're talking about now?
We're talking about buffs and nerfs at this point, but yeah, I don't
All
know.
right,
It would be really, really fun for the narrative, but it's tough against Navi.
Heroic, who So Heroic lost one game, and it was against Navi in the opener. They then beat Vitality, beat Astralis, and then beat Copenhagen Flames in a depressing 2-1.
Yeah, by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah,
Um, I think,
truly. Before we talk about Heroic's performance in this event,
yeah,
Copenhagen Flames definitely the second best team in Denmark. Certainly fighting for first right now.
definitely the most likable team in Denmark.
Definitely the most likable
Yeah,
team in Denmark. But that was really not the bar for that was set really low.
yeah, that's true. I think Heroic's more disappointing in this legend stage than Gambit, because everybody expected Heroic to do well at this major, but in the last stage, in the challenger stage, and in this stage, they did mediocre at best and got through pretty luckily. Like, I
Yeah.
understand some people might not like the team anymore after what happened with the entire Hunden drama, but Cadian's still like a
Yeah, I was gonna
very,
say.
yeah, a very like cool player to watch, and the energy he brings in at like events is insane. Um, and for him to get his first major playoffs is pretty fucking cool. Sorry, pretty cool.
Yeah. I wanna highlight a stat there, which is Cadian was one of the first 80 players that attended the very first major in 2013.
Yeah,
8 years later, he's gotten to his first playoffs. That's an insane thing.
yeah.
That it's been 8 years, everyone has gone through 7,000 different lineups, and that he's still here and he's now on one of the top teams,
I
right?
mean, and
He's
not
leading one of the
even,
top teams.
yeah, not even that he went through all those lineups, but the road he took. Like, he spent
That
some time
was
in NA. Like, how desperate do you have to be to willingly spend time in NA as a Danish player? But yeah,
yeah. Trust me, NA rough. Um, but I think heroic. I think heroic are weak right now. They
yeah,
went 3-1, but I think that they realistically shouldn't have gone 3-1. I think that they probably would have ended up out of this major, if the things continued as they should have. If Copenhagen Flames wins that 2-1 matchup, which again was a super close match,
it was a coin flip
it,
basically.
it, it was legitimately a coin flip. If Flame wins that, then I believe heroic, again, seeding be warned, because I don't want to redo Bukolt's seasoning. Seasoning. seeding in the for the 2-2 round, but Heroic would have played Nip, and I think there's no chance that Heroic beats Nip.
No.
Um, so I think by a very strong luck of the draw, Heroic's through, but I'm not convinced in any way, shape, or form about what they're doing.
Yeah, I didn't put them through in my pick'ems either. I think. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter who at least think they'll go to the quarter or to the semifinals, but I don't know. There's too many cracks in their system, and they've been really lucky in both the challenger stage and the legend stage in getting through. So
Yeah.
that's why I said they're the most disappointing team, more than Gambit for me.
All right, 3-2 teams. We have Vitality, we have Virtus Pro, and we have Nip. We'll start with Vitality, who took the long road to get here. They went down 0-2,
Yep.
and then they grinded their way back up against. Here's my problem, right? With
Yeah.
Vitality. They lost against Virtus Pro in a close game. They lost against Heroic in a relatively close game. Evil Geniuses took a map off of them, and we all were scared for our pickums. Some of us were already. I had them 3-0. Scared for our pickums, and B, how the hell is Vitality not going to make this? Apparently, in the middle of that EG match, Apex went to Zywoo and said, "You need to exist in order for us to get through." I'm paraphrasing the quote there, but he basically said, "You need to play well. That's the only way we get through." And then the Zywoo buff came, and they 2-1. They ended up 2-1ing EG, 2-1ing Astralis, and they beat Entropic, I believe, 2-1. That one
Yeah.
I'm going to check though.
It's kind of very similar to how Navi was when they still had Zeus and all the other players, like the old lineup, where it really depended on how Simple played and
Mm-hmm.
how well he did, whether or not they went through. And yeah, sure, there was always like an electronic or a flamey game where, those two went well and it helped the team like get 2-0 in a best of three instead of 2-1. But it's, I mean, although one advantage for Vitality coming into the champion stage is that they've played the most best of threes and they've won the most best of threes in the previous stage. So they have a lot of, like, that they're already warmed up. So that might play a role, and that especially might play a role in how well Zywoo plays and how well he shows up and how he can like carry the team. But it's still, I don't know, it's very unconvincing. This is not a
And
major where I see a French team take the trophy.
no, which is unfortunate for my credibility, considering I said that I thought Vitality was going to win this major. The second that they go down to BP in the opening match, I think I had to eat those words a little bit.
Yeah, that's
Um,
yikes.
yeah, let's talk about Virtus Pro, who I think everyone kind of hates right now, for a variety of reasons. So Virtus Pro
I won't go into
beats.
it.
Well, I'm not even saying for that. They beat Vitality. They lost heavily to Navi. Um, they lost to Gambit. They won against the shell of Astralis, and then they beat Faze in an extremely close match in 3-2. I think everyone hates them not because of the beating Mouse part, um, but because of the beating Faze part. I think there were a lot of people that wanted Faze to move on, whether
Yeah.
they were a Carrigan fan, whether they were a Faze fan. Russ Twist was the last American hope left, or well, Canadian hope left, that was in the major after Liquid got eliminated. So NA was behind Faze at that point. I think it was a rough game to watch.
It was. And also because at some points Virtus Pro just looked so lost. Like especially on Ancient. Maybe not against Face, but against Mouse, it was just painful to watch how bad they played.
Mhm.
Like it's not the kind of Virtus Pro we saw, or it's not even the shell of Vanguard we saw in the major final last time round.
Yeah.
And they just got so lucky at points, like with clutches and timings and vertigo smoke sprays. And I've never seen as much smoke sprays come from Yokindar as I've seen come from any player before. But
Yeah.
they
Did
haven't
you?
really set themselves up to become the heroes of this major.
No, not at all. Did you see what? Did you see what Thorin said about James on the desk?
I prefer not to listen to Thorin, but yeah,
Okay.
sure.
He said we need to add an extra hour to Virtus Pro game times because of James time.
Yeah,
And I thought that while again I agree with you on the I generally don't listen to Thorin. I thought that was funny, and more importantly, I thought that was really, really true on just how this team plays. Is that they will save at every opportunity they can. They are the anti CIS team,
yeah,
which is terrifying.
very terrifying. And I think at some point, not even the fact that there's Jame time, but that the entire team is revolving around getting that op to Jame
Mm-hmm.
can be really inhibiting for them at times. There were
Um,
moments in those matches where basically because the player had to drop an op to Jame because they want to get that op as early as possible, there wasn't time to defuse because they didn't have money for a kit, or they
yeah.
didn't have armor and they got instantly headshotted. Like, if that's how you're playing, then at what point do you just go, okay, this isn't like profitable? Well, it is because you're in the playoffs,
In
but
the quarterfinals of
yeah,
playoffs, but um, quick gut reaction: Flit for Sanji move after now two stages of Flit.
he looks pretty decent, right?
I,
Um,
I, I agree. Do we think though that it was a worthwhile move? I think is going to be how I'm going to word this.
Depends on if you're gonna keep using Flit like you use Sanji, which was dropping an op to Jame.
Okay, fair.
But
um,
it might be indicative that they, at least not for now because it was so like short before the major, that they made the change, but
they might be switching
they
playstyles
might
up,
be
kind of
on the
thing.
long run switching up how they play and like moving away from the James centered team performance, because especially in the best of threes, Yekindar, like every round Yekindar was alive was around day one almost. I'm pulling this out of the top of my head, but
Bullshit statistic that sounds
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah. It's what the caster said, so
Yeah,
I'm allowed to quote them. But
yeah. There you go.
it felt like every round Yakindar was alive, they were
They
winning
would,
way more
yeah.
than every round Jame had an impactful round with the op. So it might be worthwhile for them to look at changing up their system and getting more centered around uh, the rest of the big hitters in the team.
I mean, to be fair, they have a lot of good players on that
Yeah,
team. So,
definitely.
all right, let's talk about Nip. They made it through by the skin of their teeth. They made it through.
Yep.
I don't. First of all, the TLDR Discord was slightly busy during that portion, just a little bit. With there were a lot of people talking about this game.
Yeah,
Um, I'm pretty sure our designer Jack completely lost his voice.
probably. And he
He is
still has to go to
traveling.
the major.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say he's traveling today from the UK to Stockholm with a non-existent voice after yelling about Nip. Um, okay, so before we talk about Nip's performance, I said this. I said this in Discord. I stand by it. I think it's really important that Nip made it through. I think seeing a team with a majority of um, Swedish players. I couldn't think of what country Stockholm was in for a minute. That was odd. I think a team with a majority of Swedish players, even if one of them is Danish, right? Um, in the major in Stockholm on the stage, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Just like if it was an NA final, I would have said I think it's important to an NA players. I think it would have been important to have an NA team wherever it is. I think it's realistically important for the crowd that's there, for the way that Counter Strike works in countries around the world, to have a at least a player representative, right,
Yeah.
from those places there. And I'm happy that Nip could be that player representative, but
there weren't
God, they
many.
barely made it
Yeah,
through.
and there weren't many other options when it came to Swedish players, right? Because
Dude,
Fnatic didn't make it, so
I
I
don't think
don't
there
think.
literally were
Yeah,
any.
they're the only Swedish players at the major.
There
But
might have
yeah,
been
it
a
was
player
it
on
was
Ence.
tough to watch, especially if like me, you're not particularly fond of Nip, um, and you are particularly fond of Copenhagen Flames. But it was every time you thought, okay, this is it for them, they just pulled something out of nowhere and just suddenly looked right back in it. I mean, blame Nip, by the way. Blame Nip for the fact that Gambit isn't on the other side of
Yeah,
the quarterfinals, because if Copenhagen Flames would have gone through, the seeding would have been different,
different. Yeah,
and we could have had the CIS final with Gambit versus Navi.
just
So
more things I want to blame Nip for.
yeah,
Is really all it is. Um,
but
for
what to expect
posterity,
from them in the next stage? That's what I'm thinking. It's gonna be tough.
I mean, they have to play G2 to start, which fortunately, that's a team that they've played a ton.
True.
So this should not be the weirdest team I've ever seen like them play, which will be nice.
And they have a good side of the bracket when it comes to the other teams there, like VP Heroic.
Mhm.
That's doable. But then in a final against like Navi or something, I don't think they.
Yeah, and to be fair, we talked. I said that they barely got through, right? They beat Mouse, they beat Astralis in the most convincing match of the major so far.
Yeah.
They 16-1. They almost 16-0'd Astralis.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Um, and the only reason that Astralis won round is because they got lucky, because Lucky got a clutch,
Yeah.
which was a very very good clutch, but like they shouldn't have won that round realistically.
No.
Then they got 2-0'd by Navi, 2-0'd by Gambit, and they 1-2'd Copenhagen Flames. To be fair, getting 2-0'd by Navi and 2-0 by Gambit, I think if you were a Nip fan, you would have liked them to take a map off of both of those. You'd rather it be a 2-1. I
Yeah.
think it's a fair estimate there, but I don't think anyone with a stable brain going into this would have thought that Nip will beat Navi or Nip will beat Gambit.
Yeah.
Realistically,
If you had to take a bet, it would be
yeah,
Navi and Gambit like 99 times out of
0.9% of
100.
the time, yeah.
I mean, they weren't really convincing up against Mouse. Like, it was pretty close in the opening match. But it's the opening match and it's best of one.
Mm,
So, and it's Inferno, and everybody knows how to play Inferno. And then against Astralis, I mean, Astralis wasn't convincing at all.
no,
I know we hyped them up before, Nip, because they are a good team and they've shown that they can be like very competitive. But I think it's the same thing as with G2. If Nip wins against G2, then they can make it far, but otherwise it's just impossible
yeah.
because they lose in the
Um,
quarterfinals. If that makes sense.
let's move on.
Yeah,
Entropic, I feel for them. I feel for them bad. They had to
same.
lose to Furia, and
Yeah,
then they had to lose to Zaiwu getting the Apex Zaiwu go kill buff.
yeah, yeah. Zayu hearing Apex's words and going, "Oh yeah, that's right. I play Counter Strike."
Yeah, really. Um, I liked Entropic. I hope we see more of Entropic. Realistically, do I think they were top 8 in this major? Probably not.
No.
Do I think that they gave a really good showing for them? I think they did.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Everybody's a fan of the Vega Squadron, Quantum Bellator,
Yeah,
Bellator, whatever, except when they play against you.
yeah.
So it would have been nice to see them go through because I don't think any like of the Vega Squadron type has
I
done that
mean,
before.
a Vanguard.
A Vanguard, that's right. But a
I won't
Vanguard's
say
different.
they're the anti Vegas
Yeah,
Squadron, but still, yeah. I regardless of what it is, right? I I feel for Entropic. I think they played well through the stage. But do I think that they're a top 8 team? No, I don't.
no.
So honestly, good riddance is the wrong word because it's not at all. But
It was
like,
nice to see them do
it was
well,
nice to see them. Yeah,
but it was expected.
yeah,
But not surprised. it's
Yeah,
disappointing, but
that's
we're
really
not
what it comes
surprised.
down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phase is just
Whew.
it's just a sad moment there.
For a second, I thought Kerrigan was really just gonna pull out
Just
some
carry.
special major like magic and just go like, oh, that's right, I lost to NA like in 2018, so I'm back. Here I come.
Yeah, I'm going.
I'm about to single-handedly outfrag Simple and Zayu and everybody else and win this major.
He did not do that.
No, unfortunately. I mean, he got close, but then he failed against like a pretty winnable team, which was Virtus Pro.
To be fair, he did get his revenge against Stewie.
Yeah, he did.
We talked about this last week that we wanted the Phase Liquid match to happen
Yeah.
because we wanted. I I need to go look at the pick bands for this actually because there was a long conversation that Elliot and I had last week about Phase insta banning Inferno because Kerrigan had PTSD on it. Um, they did not,
No.
but I would have found it hilarious if they did.
Yeah.
um,
They went to for Vertigo first, which
yeah,
is, I think, their permaban,
I believe it is. I don't think they play
which
Vertigo.
makes sense. And then Liquid instantly picked Inferno, but they still got
Just
wrecked on it.
yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Um, so I'm in the same boat for Phase as I am for Entropic.
Yeah.
Uh, do I think Phase was a top 8 team? Probably not. Do I think they were a good team? I think they had a good showing. Debatable on good showing, but I think that they were they here. They played relatively well. They obviously 3-0'd the challenger stage.
Yeah.
I think you can be happy with Phase as this was where you ended up.
Yeah. Disappointed, yes. Expected, also. So
Yeah.
it's not surprising.
Let's talk about everyone's favorite team from the major so far. Copenhagen Flames. I feel for them so badly.
It's a gut wrenching story. They got so close on multiple occasions. Uh,
They
yeah,
were by far the best team in the contender stage.
yeah,
In the challenger stage. Like it wasn't even Phase
wasn't even
3-0 and
close.
they also 3-0'd, but I
Yeah,
don't think that Phase's 3-0 was comparable to the Copenhagen
I
Flames
mean,
3-0.
if you look at the legend stage, they won, what was it, 16-6 against Faze.
Yeah.
So you know who's better team.
Yeah, really. Um I legitimately Copenhagen Flames had two games that one round either way they get through the next stage, right? They had the game against Heroic, which we already said was a brawl, um, which screw Astralis, that is the new Danish derby.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and they had the same thing against Nip, right?
yeah.
They are
It was
100% the most likable team in Denmark right now, and
yeah.
it's not close.
No, it's not
Um,
even competition.
I mean, to be fair, that does go because of a variety of other things. Because Hunden bug is happening. I think if Hunden thing wasn't around Heroic,
Heroic would be more likable, but I still think Copenhagen Flames would, because everybody loves an underdog,
everyone loves
and
an underdog, and I think this team is playing. They showed they were good in the RMR. Then they took a week off and got to the major, and showed that they still kicked everyone's ass.
yeah,
So I,
I mean
I'm not.
it's special, but yeah, they're just a young team that have the results, but just not the experience and the
Experience,
mental
yeah.
fortitude, like to especially in a long drawn out best of three against a team like Nip. Nip has so much experience in their team, even if it's not the biggest players. Like Hampus has been around a long time. Device, is a major winner. Like he
Device
has
is
the
a
experience.
three-time,
But if you look
three,
at
four.
Copenhagen Flames, it's just not there yet. And I think that if it's unfortunate that this roster is for sale, but I hope they get picked up as a whole by another organization. If this team sticks together and starts like actually playing more and more and more, we're looking at like a big team. Like this is
Mhm.
potentially
I
like
agree.
it's a top 10, top 5 team if they
I,
can like
thousand
stick
percent.
to their guns. Yeah.
Uh, Cloud9 question mark?
Cloud9 question mark?
Cloud9 question mark?
Cloud9 question mark. Hmm.
That's all I have to say on that
Complexity?
matter.
Question mark. They also
I
sold most of their team.
That's a good. We'll talk about it in a little bit. I want to
Yeah.
talk about. Let's finish up with the last five teams. Then
Yeah.
we'll get into the playoffs. Then we'll get
Speculation.
into other
Yeah.
news. uh, I'm sad about Liquid. I am extremely understanding that they went out 1-3. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, expected 0-3. Um, to be fair, and I think that's where I'm at.
Um, I think they did as well as anyone would have expected them to, given the position they were in. Um, I think everyone expected them to take at least one or two maps off of somebody, in a like a best of one or something.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long run, nah.
I Yeah, I think the worst part for me as a Liquid fan going through this, right, was us losing to Furia.
Yeah,
Because if there's any team that was at the major that we played a trillion times,
it's Furia.
it's Furia.
Yeah,
And it's like, that's the one team that we couldn't beat. Like, you're kidding me. I also tweeted this on Twitter, obviously, because you don't tweet things on
yeah.
other platforms. Um, I'm prepared for Liquid to burn it down.
Do you mean like completely?
They, yeah, they're blowing it up. They keep a leash.
Could
They
be.
keep Grim. Stewie's gone. Naf's gone. Fallen's gone. I think that this roster is one of the. There's a couple rosters here that I see are like prime for roster change. Um, but realistically, the only roster that I see that's like 1,000% in this stage roster change, EG, which we've known for a long time would realistically be coming,
Yeah,
and Liquid, because this Liquid team has been the same core for since the Grand Slam, and it just hasn't looked the same. Now, I would like to say I was really excited for NAF stickers.
I mean,
Did you see the picture of the stickers?
I know I did
Oh my
not.
god! Hold on,
That's okay.
I gotta find them.
I
I'm
have to
gonna
see it now. Oh
yeah
boy,
yeah. Hold up, I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you the link.
no idea how I missed out on that one. Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, that is okay. Yeah, that's one hell of a submission. Yeah.
Yeah, it says
Yep.
NAF, and in between the N and the F, he's got like a little hammock with a slot there, and he's got some like leaves on the N and the F. It's perfect. Even if you're not a NAF fan,
Yeah.
you would buy it
It's that
because
is that would
it's perfect.
instantly that would sell like crazy.
Yeah, that might have been the most expensive sticker from this major, and like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter about the symbol. Um,
Somewhere, some part of me still hopes that CS:GO just or sorry Valve just makes an
just
exception and
yeah,
like says it was all a joke. We made all the stickers. Here we go.
yeah.
There you go. Have
Maybe they'll
fun.
just release all the player stickers after.
Yeah,
They were
I don't
just like
mind.
didn't yeah. I mean, they were just like, yeah, we wanted the souvenirs to be of the maps and stuff. We didn't want player specific or whatever to
Yeah,
start. But here's some player stickers. Go. I would
and
have been okay with. I'm okay with that. I mean, whatever. Like,
yeah, that's
communicate
the
it to us,
thing.
but
Like
whatever.
every player that made the major after they like after all the RMR closed, they were excited for the
Player stickers, yeah,
bags of money they were about to get
yeah,
because people tend to forget how much money these stickers make. Like it's insane. It's like tens of thousands of dollars, and to just with one tweet instantly remove all that money for all those players. Like some of these guys don't make a lot of money, and I don't know. It to me, it's just heart wrenching that Valve, because they completely forgot that. Oh, that's right, we have a major going on. They just took away all this potential money for these guys. It's I don't know. It's just really sad. That's all
yeah.
I can say. It's just really sad.
All right, I'm really happy that our Liquid talk turned into a sticker talk, and we don't
Yeah.
have to talk anymore about Liquid. Astralis, expected.
Yikes.
I think is
Yeah.
the I think the word that we need to say here is expected. They beat
Fully
Furia
expected.
and then lost all the way out. And I think the most important part that you need to know about this, if you learned one thing from this stage, is Astralis got 16-1 and almost 16-0 by Device. So whoever said before that Device was a role player for Glaive, it was Glaive's greatest cog in the machine.
Yeah,
That it didn't matter what opera was there. That Glaive would. You're wrong.
yeah,
Astralis is not a good team anymore.
no.
And if you thought that you were at the delusional point, and Astralis is going to blow it up as well.
I think it also takes away some of the credits that went to Glaive as an IGL. Like a year ago, everybody was saying Glaive is the best IGL ever. If you can
Mm-hmm.
put Glaive on any team and he'll make it better. But um, I don't know. I'm starting to doubt that because
Yeah.
he's given, well, not the perfect player set, but he's given decent players to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And either he's not as good an IGL as we all think, or he's lost his mojo, but it's not working
Something.
out. He's not the best anymore. That's the conclusion.
Yeah,
He could
I
still
agree.
be it. He could still come back, but right now Astralis is in shambles.
Yeah. All right. It's. I think it's your least favorite part of the podcast.
Oh no.
We're talking about Mousesports.
Yeah. Um I think even for Mouseports fan, they did better than we expected.
Okay. Actually, before you talk about this, for
Yeah.
those of you on audio only, Naps is a very large Mousesports fan. So much so that he is wearing a Mousesports jersey. I also happen to be wearing a Mousesports jersey. So, just to put you in the right mind for what is about to be said, this is a biased thing from a Mousesports fan, but
Yeah.
should be relatively true.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
continue.
It's relatively biased, yeah. Um but I think I'm a very realistic Mouseports fan when it comes to like keeping a level head. But
Okay.
anyways, I'm wearing the ugliest jersey, by the way, in
That
my
is
opinion.
correct.
Yeah. I had to show my support by wearing the ugliest one. No, I think Mouseports did better than most of us expected. I was hoping for some magic. I put them as my 3-0 actually in my pick'em because I was willing to take the risk there. And I was hoping to get some best of one magic and then get an easy team in the best of three. But they should have gone through against Virtus Pro. Like that last map, it was heartbreaking. It was hard to watch because you could see at every point that Mousesports was the better team, but Virtus Pro just got really lucky at some points and in the important rounds. So it was yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah. I
And
think
now
that's all we need
everybody's
to say
saying
about it.
there needs to be changes.
Do you agree with that?
Um, I prefer not to speak because
Okay.
if I speak, I am in big trouble. No, I think yeah, either Dexter is out or Acor. Second one more likely, or Robs gets poached. But I think he's in a good position. So I don't
Do we
know.
think since the Torzy ban is up in like 3 days or something like that, do we think that it's going to be Torzy for Acor and just go with that for a little bit?
Hmm, I don't know.
Okay.
It could be. I mean,
Okay.
uh, the thing is, if I remember correctly, Acor was partially calling this major as well because Dexter wasn't feeling all right. I think he was ill or something, but that might have distracted him in his alping. But there's still even before this major, there were plenty of examples where Acor just didn't show up, and I hate to do that because I hate to like hate on a player who clearly has potential, who clearly has the
Yeah, I
level
mean,
to be a really good AWPer, but just isn't showing up because it's just gonna make his life worse and it's just gonna make his performance worse. But yeah, at some point, someone has to pull the plug on the Acre AWP.
all right. Let's talk about the 3-0 teams. We're going to
Yeah,
move very quickly through this. Evil Geniuses need to blow it up. Everyone has said they need to blow it up for a very long time.
yeah,
They were the worst team in the stage, and I don't think that there was a single person that disagreed. If
yeah,
you didn't have EG as your 0-3 for pick'ems, you actually threw.
yeah.
Um, that's all I need to say about this team. We've been saying that EG has been nicknamed G for months and months now. I think they lived up to their moniker. At least, I think that we're going to see a huge amount of changes after this. Um, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that entire team minus Cirque just decided to go to Valorant and that was it. Um,
Wouldn't surprise me.
that's EG's terrible. Everyone knows it. This was not a surprise. This was warranted.
Yeah,
Um,
I think if we see changes, the org will look to keep Breezy and Cirque
I'm not
as
even
like a
sure if they
core.
look to keep Cirque anymore.
I don't know. He has the
They'll keep
level.
Obo. They'll keep Obo.
Yeah, if Owo doesn't leave himself like he did
Yeah,
with
if Obo
complexity.
doesn't leave, Obo leaving on complexity was a different story than Obo
True.
on EG. But if Obo doesn't leave himself, they're going to do whatever they can to protect Obo. Obo
Yeah,
is probably the best young player in America.
he's a very valuable
I think.
prospect. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he is the best young player in America. I'm trying to think about the rest of the the young players. Um,
probably Grim. I don't know how old he is.
yeah, no, Grim's around the same area.
Maybe some of the Triumph guys, but
Not the Triumph guys.
okay.
I've been decently in. I was on the desk for Triumph guys about a week ago, and realistically, Swisher and Spongy are who I'd look to there, and I'm not convinced by either of them, at least over Obo. Not the point though. Um,
He's still a very good player, very
yeah,
valuable as well. Yeah,
yeah. E.g., you're gonna rebuild around Obo or Obo and Breezy, and that's gonna have to be what it is because they're not. They're if they continue to go through with what they currently have, then there's not going to realistically be a. It won't be good. Ence. I'm in the
Ence.
same boat for Ence that I was in for Entropic, um,
Yeah,
and Astralis, which is I'm happy to see them here. They did really well in the first stage, and were they a top 8 team? No. Do I think they were top 16? Yes. Do I
yeah,
think they were somewhere towards the bottom of the top 16? Absolutely. Do I think that this was probably about where they should have ended up? Yeah.
yeah. I think the same point applies for Ents as I used before for international rosters, which is they can be really good, but they're hard to judge. And coming into the major, everybody was kind of worried about who would be better or how what they would do. But then coming out of the challenger stage, everybody was like, okay, well, this is pretty impressive. They've done pretty well. You know what? I might as well put them in my pick'ems or something similar. And then they went 0-3. So I don't know. It's tough to judge, but I I I would have liked them to go through, but it's as you said, it's expected for them to be top 16.
Yeah, and I don't think them doing any better. I realistically don't think that they will have done any better than they did.
No, no, they might have grabbed a few maps here and there in the best of one, but that's it.
There are people lawn mowing outside of my window now,
That's
which is
unfortunate.
lovely. Which is just lovely. I
Perfect,
record this
perfect
podcast
podcast recording.
every week, same time. Never heard lawnmowers. Same time, same place, every week. Um, all right, that's the entirety of the legend stage. I want to talk a little bit about playoffs because we have a
Yeah,
bracket. This starts the day that the podcast comes out. Does it start tomorrow? I think it does.
yeah,
Yeah, we have
Friday,
one
right? Yeah.
semifinal. We have two
Wait, no.
quarters
Yeah,
tomorrow, and then two quarters on
Friday,
Friday. Semis both on Saturday.
and then final
Finals
on
on
Sunday,
Sunday.
which
So
is perfect, by the way.
I
Or
agree.
at least for like, I don't know how it is for NA audiences, but for EU audiences, I really like that they put it on a Sunday because pretty much everyone is available on a Sunday.
Well, what's convenient about Sunday is it doesn't overlap with the World's Finals.
That's also convenient.
So if for people who watch League, doesn't overlap. Super convenient. Also, they fixed the fact that North America can now watch the major because the earliest match is 11:30 a.m.
Oh,
and
that's pretty
not
doable.
4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or like I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to watch Liquid lose to Faze the other day.
Oof.
So yeah. Oh, not only did I have to wake up at 6 a.m. to watch Liquid lose to Faze, I woke up at 6 a.m. on my birthday to watch Liquid lose to Faze.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts. And I'm a Mouseports fan, so I know how things can hurt, but that hurts.
All right. So let's talk finals. Bracket is as follows: Navi plays Vitality, Furia plays Gambit, Heroic plays Versus Pro, Nip plays G2.
Yeah.
I want to do a quick rundown. I want to hear who you think is winning each game. We'll crown a winner today, and we'll see how badly we do next week. Um, let's start with the big match. What I think is going to be probably the closest match of the quarters. Um, Nip, not Nip, Navi Vitality. We had the simple Zaiwu matchup early in the quarters this year.
Yeah.
Who do you think's got this?
So I said before that Vitality is warmed up compared to like Navi, who've only played 2 best-of-1s and a best-of-3. Vitality have played 3 best-of-3s and 2 best-of-1s, and especially won those 3 best-of-3s. So it's gonna be a banger matchup to watch because if Saiwu and Simple are both warmed up, then
Yeah,
that's something I want to watch every day. But I still think Navi will take it
I think I agree there. I think it's gonna be Navi
just because
going.
overall they looked like a better team.
Yeah, Navi went 3-0 and they
Yeah,
destroyed everyone in their path.
yeah,
Furia Gambit. This should be Gambit's any day
yeah.
of the week, right?
If Gambit doesn't take this, then I will not say what I'm gonna do because otherwise
Yeah,
it's
they're
gonna jinx it. But
Gambit.
Gambit has to. They have
There's
to.
no way Gambit doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Heroic VP.
Now this is a tough one because you would expect Heroic to go through, but Virtus Pro has pulled off some crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, either way, it doesn't matter because whoever they face next,
He's good.
G2 or
They're gonna.
Nip, is gonna win.
Yeah. Let's talk about G2 Nip. This is gonna be another close match. I think it's gonna be Nip.
I think it'll be G2.
Okay.
So we've got a bit of a
So here's the thing about the side of the bracket. Regardless of which of the two European teams win, that team will be getting to the finals.
yeah.
They beat Heroic or Nip or Virtus Pro. Um, so what are we thinking on the Navi Gambit game? I think that goes Navi's way. I think we've got past statistics and stuff to look at that says this goes Navi's way.
Yeah. It's still like the Navi Vitality match will be one hell of a match to watch.
Yeah.
But once again, just Navi looked like the better team overall. They should be taking that and going to the final.
Yeah. Okay, so final Sunday. We have Navi against either Nip in my favor or G2 in your favor. Do you have any chance in your head that either of the two European teams win this major final?
It's like 1% less, but it is possible. But once again, this is just a perfect major for Simple to win. He's got a good side of the bracket, and either way gets an easy team in the final.
Yeah, I'm. No matter how this works, I think this is a Navi major at this point.
And otherwise, it's going to be really tough for a lot of people's pick'ems.
Yeah, a lot. It's gonna be rough.
Everybody has Navi going through, so.
All right. So we've crowned Navi as our major winner. Let's talk
Yeah.
about some other things at this point. We have so we've got 3.5 stories that I want to talk about. Then we have a couple of questions from the internet, and then we will get going for this week. So first story I want to talk about is Blame F getting kicked from Complexity, and then subsequently, like a couple days later, we have JKS and S-Tag both all put on transfer portal.
Yeah.
So Colossus is blowing it up. Not Colossus, Juggernaut is blowing it up.
Colossus blew up a long time ago.
Oh, yes.
It's interesting because Blame F really looked like the center of the Complexity, like Juggernaut project. But I think what Jason Lake is thinking is, okay, well, it didn't work out for the last, I don't know, half year with Blame F and with how we built this roster, so we're just gonna start over.
Yeah.
He
I
did it before
there's
with Complexity,
yeah,
so
there's something in the back of my head here that says they're looking to go North American. Um,
wouldn't surprise me.
because of the Cowboys' money and because COVID is reducing itself around the world,
Yeah,
that we see a lot more travel with teams, and North America might become a real region again. And by real region, I mean a strong tier two region again.
yeah.
Um, it's just not Europe. There's no way of me putting it that says that North America is going to be as good as Europe. Um, but I think complexity might be going North American. And regardless, honestly, let's be real, this move probably had to be done. It just sucks to have Blame F kicked because he was the rock of this team. He was the one who did the things correctly.
Yeah, but he's also a very interesting player for other teams to pick up,
Yeah.
and it'll be
Uh,
interesting to see where he goes.
I'm one of the people who has actually said Blame F to Liquid. Um, I think that would be fun at the very least.
Yeah, yeah, could be an interesting replacement for Dexter as well. Although I don't think it's the road Mouseports will take, but he would fit into any
He fits
project,
in
I
a
would
lot of
say.
places. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Spirit is not going to exist in its current form.
yeah,
They've already said they're dropping their entire Counter Strike team. They are going to rebuild,
yeah.
um, which is unfortunate for Spirit fans. So it's just
Basically, the
unfortunate for
entire
Elliot.
yeah, basically the entire TLDR
Yeah,
editor team. Yeah,
yeah. Anyone who works in the newsletter,
yeah,
basically, unfortunate for us. But reality, I don't see a chance that that team doesn't get picked up. At least parts of
yeah,
that team, like Mir and Dexter, will continue to exist within CIS.
yeah. Because
Um,
for a long time they looked like they were set to become the second best team in CIS.
correct. Honestly, I think they might go over to Forza, because I
Could
don't think
be.
Forza was planning on all of Spirit becoming available.
Yeah,
Um, I think we'll see those players filter out to some other places. But I think this is the end of that team together,
yeah.
um, which is unfortunate. Then we have we have our third star here, which is Valve against coaches.
Oh boy. Now this is a
So
long one. Yeah.
we're gonna TLDR this one because none of us have time for this.
No, it's just so stupid.
So Valve said coming into, I think it was coming into the Legend stage, that coaches should not be showing emotion, touching players, yelling nice, etc. in the middle of matches.
Yeah.
Which, as
Stupid.
someone who I coach a collegiate team, right? I won't say I'm any good, right? But do I absolutely scream nice when a player does a clutch? Yes.
Yeah.
Am I a part of fist bumps in between the rounds? Absolutely. I cannot imagine what the guys that coach professionally, that get paid to coach professionally, that have their livelihood riding on these games, how they can just sit like this the entire match. They could show just no emotion.
I mean, and that's part of coaching, right? You're
Yeah,
there emotionally for the team, cheering them on. You were outside of
you
the
are their
game, so you
cheerleader.
know
That's
what emotions you need to convey to your team to get them to get into the right mindset and keep on winning or come back or whatever. It's such an integral part of coaching that I don't understand why nobody at Valve has any idea how big this, and it's not a rule you can enforce. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's just if every coach out there suddenly
Just
starts
starts
cheering,
doing it.
just
Yeah,
doesn't stop doing it, there's no way in hell you're gonna ban or disqualify every team at a major. Like it's just so stupid. I don't understand why they would even do this.
I I couldn't tell you. And then the next day, Valve said something about the huddles need to happen like 7 minutes before
Yeah, once
game
again,
starts because 5 minutes before was getting too close, or and then it came out that PGL was actually asking teams to do it like 3 minutes before, and basically Valve hates coaches, and we're continuing to see that now. That's realistically all
it's
you need to know.
yeah,
It's just they're taking the major as their newest place to just throw more shit at the wall and hope some of it sticks.
yep,
Um, we asked on Twitter about some questions. I have some here, and we will answer some of them. So first of all, someone asked, "Who are you?" Um,
Yeah.
I assume this is a person you know for a variety of reasons.
Yeah. Yes. That was a joke, but yeah, they know perfectly who I am.
Okay.
But I think they all want ACS back.
Um, Harry, our social media manager, asked who Mouse should replace Rops with.
See, here's the thing. I don't think Mouse are gonna lose my Robs. He's been in the project so long, and he's really at the center of the project. To be honest, like before with Karrigan or with Sunny or the other players, there was still someone else next to Robs, but right now it's Robs, a bunch of youngsters, and Dexter. And Robs is really at the center of the project, so there's no win in hell that Mouseports is gonna let him go easily.
Mhm.
So either a team will have to, and we know like Mouseports, when it comes to selling players, they're really smart, and when it comes to picking up young talents, they're really smart as well. So I'll think they try their best to keep him on. If they do let him go, I think I would never know who to replace him with.
Yeah, it's really a tough question because they're
Yeah,
gonna realistically what Mouse is gonna do is pick somebody out of relative obscurity that
yeah.
they've been
They
looking
would
for
probably
a
bring
while.
someone up from like Mouseports NXT, like
Oh no,
their
I'm
academy
thinking
team,
even more obscure than that. I'm
probably.
thinking they're gonna pick like an FPL player or something like that
Oh
that
yeah,
they just decided is good. Like the same way they kind of grabbed Drops, the same way they kind of grabbed Frozen, that they're just gonna kind of grab them out of relative obscurity and then run with it.
yeah. I mean, it could
Um,
work.
yeah. How do you cope with your favorite teams losing?
Listen, I've been a Mousesports fan since for 4 years now, for 3 4 years. And the football team I support in the Netherlands also has the same team profile as Mousesports, so I'm used to it. Like I'm so used to it. I don't know.
So
It shows like it really shows how good of a fan you are if you can keep supporting them through and through. So yeah, I try my
I've been a
best.
liquid I've been a liquid fan since about Columbus,
Yeah.
so a while. So I've seen I saw the birth of Chokewood. um,
That sigh says a lot.
I'm also a league fan of Liquid, which
Yeah,
means
it's
I've
tough.
gotten to see League go three Liquid go 3-3 at Worlds every single year for the past ever. Um, I'm also in like normal sports. I'm not sure how much baseball news you get there, but I'm a Mets fan.
I have no idea what that means.
Okay, so the Mets are a baseball team in New York that are historically have a good team and historically find a way to screw it up every season in a different way. Um,
Yep.
and I'm the equivalent of that for every single sport
Sounds like
except for
my sports.
basketball.
Yeah,
So just
it's
like I understand that, and like I'm currently in the city of my sports team has lost for so many years, and finally we are good.
yeah.
So
I mean, it just makes winning even better, right?
correct. I agree. And realistically, you just move on to the next one because like the team will get better or they won't. And if they won't, well, set your expectations low.
Yep. The lower your expectations, the more surprised you can be.
Yep.
So you just learn to cope. A lot of copium.
All right, that's all we have for today. My name has been Logan. This has been Napz. You can find us on Twitter at Logan Ramhap, at NapsCS, and at ReadTLDR. We'll be back next week with our post-major show, which I'm excited for. That's next week.